in and out. You have a gate on this or something? Okay, now it's better. Oh, you were just hitting the latch button.
Yeah, so that's talk A.
Sorry for the...
Okay.
Okay.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Orlando. I am Linnea Nelson, serving on our worship team here at 1U. And with me in today's service are our worship leader, Reverend Mary Katherine Morn, our director of music, Aubrey Connelly-Candelario, and our accompanist, Danny Monzon Villegas, and special guests, Carly Cronin and Nataline Alexandre, who have traveled here with Reverend Mary Katherine from the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. Carly and Nataline will be in Gore Hall after the service, or even maybe right outside if it's not too windy. And to talk more with you, and Reverend Margalie will be back in the pulpit next week, along with Judith Stein-Farrall, our religious educator. Now, for Mary Katherine Morn, Ted and I have known the Reverend Mary Katherine Morn for many years. First as our minister at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Fairfax outside Washington, D.C. And then I served as a religious educator under Mary Katherine's leadership. And as I said to some folks yesterday, Mary Katherine is a rock star in the UU world, and we're very honored to have you here today. She has deep experience and service in Unitarian Universalism. She has also ministered to congregations in 5 states and Washington, D.C., and after parish ministry, Mary Katherine was a director of stewardship and development and special assistant to the president for the Unitarian Universalist Association. She has served as president and lead executive officer of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, UUSC, since May of 2018. And Mary Katherine has also served on panels for the UU funding program and has also held various positions within the UU Ministers Association, including vice president of the executive committee. She was a president of senior ministers of large UU congregations and the former co-chair of the UUA President's Council. We are delighted and honored to welcome Reverend Mary Katherine, Natalie, and Carly to the First Unitarian Church of Orlando. So welcome. We welcome all to join us as we explore our Unitarian Universalist faith, which draws us into a community of justice seekers with a commitment to lifelong spiritual growth and compassionate service to the community. Whoever you are, whoever you love, you are welcome here. You are welcome here regardless of your color, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental abilities, economic status, or religious background. We welcome you. For more information about our congregation and announcements, go to orlandouu.org or email info@orlandouu.org. Children will go to activities when we sing them out after time for all ages, and the nursery is open until noon. And now we have a special announcement, the 1U Community Exchange, if you haven't heard about this. This is our online auction. We are $700 away from our goal of $10,000, but we will take more. So if you haven't logged in yet, there's still lots of things to bid on. Just remember, if you're buying something, it will go to your credit card right away. Just follow the prompts. If you are bidding on something and somebody else is bidding against you, who knows how many people, you won't know if you got that until tomorrow night at 9 o'clock when the auction ends. So I'm expecting all of you at 8 o'clock tomorrow night to be frantically trying to get your last minute bids. And those of you who are auction savvy, you know the last minute you can get some either good deals or make sure you get the things you want. So thank you all who have donated, and thank you all who've logged in. And it is both about raising money for our congregation, our beautiful congregation, and all the work that we do here with the ministries, but it is also, it's the community exchange. It is an opportunity to spend time with people throughout the year who are part of this community. So if you're new, if you're a visitor, log on. Just join a dinner or something. There's bingo for $5. You can't go wrong. You'll meet some people here outside of Sunday morning, so we welcome all of you. Now, for religious enrichment, there's no Welcoming Wednesday this week. However, look for an updated schedule at the table in Gore Hall with current plans for upcoming Wednesdays and others, including Ken Lofgren classes, very popular, a new small group starting, a book group, drumming circle, and more. So, Aubrey, do you have something to tell us?
So one last announcement, that the Flying Horse Big Band from UCF will be here this Saturday night. Okay, Saturday night. And doors open at 7:30. The show begins at 8. If you weren't here to hear them last year, I tell you it is transformative. To hear a 20-piece band in this room with these acoustics, it is the most amazing sound I think we will ever have in this space. So please come. Tickets are available through the website. Also to let you know, we started our year this year with Holly Near. We're finishing up with the Flying Horse Band. Next year we have bigger and better plans. We're really looking for some great things, but we need a little help. Our music team is just 3 of us. We'd like to add a body or 2 to that. If you're interested in helping us plan these Milk District concerts, please come see me and we'll hook you up. Thank you. See you Saturday night.
And just in case, there is a photo safari on the 1U Community Exchange in the afternoon, followed by a potluck, followed by coming to Flying Big Horse. So check it out. Ted and I will be at all of those. So all other announcements are on slides before and after the service and have links in the weekly update or on our website. If you'd like to follow along with the service, the QR code shown in the monitor and on the first few slides is there for you. And thanks again for being here in person and online today.
Good morning. Please say the following words with me as we light the chalice. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Please rise in body and spirit, and join in singing hymn 1017, Building a New Way.
First Unitarian. I am so glad to see all of you here and grateful for this opportunity to be with you for worship this morning and to represent our Unitarian Universalist Service Committee and our partners around the globe, creating justice and advancing human rights. I want to say a special thank you to Margalie. Thank you, Margalie, so much for the warm welcome, and I'm so glad to be able to see you. And it has been a joy over these last couple of years to have a few opportunities to get to know your wonderful minister, and I am grateful to call her a colleague and proud to be becoming friends with Margalie. Thank you so much, Margalie. And I want to thank Linnea for all of her support and Ted as well for our visit and all of our wonderful worship support. Thank you so much. It's really wonderful to be with you. Our call to worship is a poem by a Colorado Indigenous poet, Rosemary Watola Tromer. Her poem, For When People Ask, you know, how are you? I want a word that means okay and not okay. More than that, a word that means devastated and stunned by joy. I want the word that says, I feel it all at once. The heart is not like a songbird singing only one note at a time, more like a Tuvan throat singer, able to sing both a drone and simultaneously 2 or 3 harmonics high above it. A sound, the Tuvans say, that gives the impression of wind swirling on rocks. The heart understands swirl, how the churning of opposite feelings weaves through us like an insistent breeze, leads us wordlessly deeper into ourselves, blesses us with paradox so that we might walk more openly into this world, so rife with devastation, so ripe with joy. Come, let us together face this world in heartbreak and hope, in joy and love. Let's take a moment to greet one another. I don't have to.
Good morning. I would love to invite any children, youth, or the young at heart that would like to join me up here at the carpet. Come on up. I was told it's okay to sit down. Is that okay? Okay. I have a question. What is something that happens every time Unitarian Universalists come together on Sunday mornings? I'll give you a clue. Yeah, we light the chalice. The chalice is very important to us as UUs. Every time Unitarian Universalists gather for worship, no matter where we are, we light a chalice. It's fun to think about people all over the country and even the world doing this just like us. But did you know the flaming chalice wasn't always the symbol of Unitarian Universalism? No. Today, I want to tell you a story about how the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, where we 3 are from, began. It all started over 80 years ago when Unitarians in the United States were watching what was happening in Europe, and they were getting very worried. They were worried because a man named Hitler and the people he was leading, called the Nazis, were becoming very powerful and hurting a lot of people. The Nazis believed some very mean and wrong things. They believed that the only people who were any good were people just like them. They wanted everyone to be the same, and if you weren't, they might kick you out of your house and take all your things. They wouldn't let you work, and eventually, they started killing people who they thought were different from them. Jewish people, gay people, people with disabilities, all of them were targets of the Nazis during this time. It was very scary. What do you think you would do if you saw something like this happening? Would you want to help? Would the people in your church want to help too? Yeah, it was the same 80 years ago. The Unitarians wanted to help people in Europe who were being targeted by the Nazis. So a Unitarian minister and his wife from Wellesley, Massachusetts, Waite Still and Martha Sharp, went to Europe to see how they could help the people there. They found lots of ways to help when they got there, but they had to be creative because the Nazis were watching and it would be dangerous if they got caught. The Sharps helped get the paperwork people needed to escape to safer places. Sometimes they would even sneak people past guards wearing disguises. They also helped people, including kids like you, get food and clothing in a time when it was hard to find both. The Sharps were very brave, but they didn't do this work alone. They worked with people in the Jewish communities in Europe. They worked with other Unitarians in the United States who sent them money and other supplies so more people could be helped. This is how the Unitarian Service Committee, now the UU Service Committee, got started. This is where the flaming chalice comes in. Many of the people that the Unitarian Service Committee was helping in Europe didn't have the papers they needed in order to travel to safer countries. So UUSC decided to make their own. The most important thing is that these papers needed to look official. They needed a seal to look official. So the Reverend Charles Joy asked an Austrian artist named Hans Dusch to create an official seal for the papers that the Unitarian Service Committee was printing. And Hans created the chalice. The flaming chalice was printed at the top of the documents UUSC issued to get people to safety. So our chalice, the thing that binds all Unitarian Universalists together, was founded on our commitment to human rights. Today, UUSC still works around the world to help people who are being treated badly, find safety, and have their human rights respected. We work with migrant communities who have fled their homes in Central America and are seeking asylum in the United States. We work with Rohingya Muslims from Burma who are facing inhumane treatment and displacement by their government. We work with people around the world whose home communities are threatened by climate change, and so much more. Both 80 years ago and today, UUs come together through the UU Service Committee to work with people who need it most. And we will continue to be there to help into the future because Unitarian Universalists believe in doing what we can to make the world a better and safer place for everyone. Thank you for the ways you help us do this work. We couldn't do it without you. We are so grateful. Thank you for listening to this story.
Thank you, Carly. And please, let's sing our children out to their activities. If you're in the middle, please make a loving arch for them. This is the time that we set aside for deep sharing of our hearts and for prayer and meditation. If you have a sorrow that you need witnessed or help with, or have a joy that you wish to share, Please contribute to our collective sharing of joys and sorrows to be read each Sunday during worship. You can send an email to joysandsorrows@orlandouu.org during the week. And if you're attending in person, you can also fill out a card at the registration table and hand it to an usher before the start of the service. And after the meditation, we will call you forward to participate in our candle lighting ritual. Bring your joys and your sorrows as we come together. Come as you are. Your whole self is welcome in this sacred space we are creating together. From 1U, our today's flowers are provided by Cindy Schleier, honoring all the blood donors and blood donor advocates. And Bonnie Fisher-Pruitt wants to thank the 1U family for their immediate and generous support following her recent accident. She expresses gratitude for those who anticipated needs and organized help, and the many who have kept her lifted up through these weeks. And from our program assistant, Gabby, she asks for your love, support, and healing energy for the family and friends of her dear friend, Justin, who on February 7th passed away from a 2-week intense battle with pancreatic cancer. He was 41. We're thinking of you, Gabby. Also, Linda and Dave would like to share that their son, Michael, has accepted an editor job at a newspaper in New Hampshire. And we are happy that he can do what he loves in a state where he feels safe. And a joy from the McCleskys, the family is thrilled to announce that their son, Tori, who grew up in this congregation, is getting married to a wonderful woman he met at his local UU church in Boston. And the wedding will be in May in Boston. Congratulations. And from the larger community, we continue to hold the Orlando families in love, our communities with care, and the world with our compassion, by acting for justice in all the small and large ways that will move the arc of justice. And for all the joys and sorrows of this community shared today, and for those held close to your hearts, let's pray, let's celebrate, and send each other healing energy. I'd like to invite you into prayer today, first with a movement that I hope helps us really feel what is going on in the world and the joy that is there as well. So I invite you to take your hands and press them together, but if you have rings on, move them to the back so you don't hurt yourself. Press in and feel the constriction, the pain of the world, and any pain that you are feeling. Breathe into that. And then I invite you to put your arms out in expansion, knowing that we can make a difference. Take a breath into that. We can make a difference. And I invite you to bring it all into your heart. Water, air, clothing, shelter. We yearn for human rights for everyone. Genocide, cyclones, gender discrimination, displacement. We recognize the pain and hardship of so many as we pray to not forget them. And bless the partnerships that bring education, feminism, connection to the earth, connection to ancestors, community-led solutions. May we support the grassroots efforts of true partnership to ensure light and rights to all. May it be so. I invite you now to come forward to light a candle in joy or sorrow, knowing that the first candle we light will be for those of you online, and the last candle will be for those of you in this room who have chosen not to come forward but still are holding love and care in your heart.
troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me? Comfort me tenderly. Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
Amen, and blessed be. I'd like to introduce our reading, which is a poem read by the poet, and will be on by video. On September 23rd, 2014, 26-year-old poet Kathy Jetnil Kitchener from the Marshall Islands addressed the opening ceremony of the United Nations Secretary General's Climate Summit. Kathy performed a new poem entitled Dear Matafele Penam, written for her daughter. The poem received a standing ovation. Kathy, the poet, is also a teacher, a journalist, and founder of the grassroots organization and UUSC partner, Joe Chikum. This is Kathy reading Dear Matafele Penam.
Dear Matafele Penam, you are a 7-month-old sunrise of gummy smiles. You are bald as an egg and bald as the Buddha. Your thighs that are thunder, shrieks that are lightning, so excited for bananas, hugs, and our morning walks along the lagoon. Dear Matafele Penam, I want to tell you about that lagoon, that lucid, sleepy lagoon lounging against the sunrise. Men say that one day, that lagoon will devour you. They say it will gnaw at the shoreline, chew at the roots of your breadfruit trees, gulp down rows of your seawalls, and crunch through your island's shattered bones. They say you, your daughter, and your granddaughter too, will wander rootless, with only a passport to call home. Dear Matafele Penam, don't cry. Mommy promises you, no one will come and devour you. No greedy whale of a company sharking through political seas, no backwater bullying of businesses with broken morals, no blindfolded bureaucracies gonna push this mother ocean over the edge. No one's drowning, baby. No one's moving. No one's losing their homeland. No one's gonna become a climate change refugee. Or should I say, no one else. To the Carteret Islanders of Papua New Guinea and to the Taro Islanders of Fiji, I take this moment to apologize to you. We are drawing the line here. Because baby, we are going to fight. Your mommy, daddy, boo-boo, dimma, your country, and your president too, we will all fight. And even though there are those hidden behind platinum titles who like to pretend that we don't exist, that the Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, Kiribati, Maldives, and Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, and floods of Pakistan, Algeria, and Colombia, and hurricanes, tidal waves, and earthquakes didn't exist, still, there are those who see us. Hands reaching out, fists raising up, banners unfurling, megaphones booming, and we are canoes blocking coal ships. We are the radiance of solar villages. We are the rich, clean soil of the farmer's past. We are petitions blooming from teenage fingertips. We are families biking, recycling, reusing, engineers dreaming, designing, building, artists painting, dancing, writing. We are spreading the word. And there are thousands out on the street, marching with signs, hand in hand, chanting for change now. They're marching for you, baby. They're marching for us. Because we deserve to do more than just survive. We deserve to thrive. Dear Matafele Penam, you were eyes heavy with drowsy weight. So just close those eyes, baby, and sleep in peace. Because we won't let you down. You'll see.
Matefele must be 10 years old now. Her mother is still writing poetry, still fighting for her people, fighting for our planet, raising her precious daughter. And I trust she still holds a bold imagination for us, for our future. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it? This past week, I had the opportunity to hear a writer new to me, Princeton professor Ruha Benjamin, whose new book is Imagination, a Manifesto. Benjamin's book is about the way we prejudice some kinds of imagination over others, how we celebrate imagination and believe in possibility when we are thinking about science and technology and warfare, and how our imagination falls short when we are trying to imagine a world where all may enjoy their human rights, where all may not only survive, but thrive. So as Dr. Benjamin was beginning her talk, we were at the Harvard bookstore. It's great living near Cambridge. It was wonderful. Packed room. And she divided us in half. And this was just this week, so bear with me. I'm going to try this because it was really powerful. I'm going to ask you, this side of the room, primarily this maybe the edge of this side and this section. When I motion to you, I'm going to ask you to answer my call. This is a little call and response with be bold, okay? Be bold, okay. Be bold. Thank you. Now, the rest of you, when I am looking at you and offer you a call, I would ask that you respond with, get real. Get real. Good. Oh, y'all are on it. We can get to deep space. Be bold. We can educate all our children. Get real. Artificial intelligence will create new possibility. Be bold. We can provide a living wage for all. Get real. New technology will ensure security. Be bold. We could build a society where we live without prisons. Get real. We will have bunkers to protect some from nuclear disaster. Be bold. Cease fire now. Get real. We could support life in space. Be bold. There will be no more climate refugees. Get real. Can you hear us? Thank you to Dr. Benjamin. We need imagination, not just in science and technology. We need poetry that calls us to remember that another world is possible. We need this blessed gathering. We need you, me, all of us together here in this room and beyond. This gathering that challenges us to do what we can, each of us, to help bring that world, that possibility, that peace into being. I am grateful to share this time with you this morning for this sacred purpose. This sermon is about faithful imagination, the faithful imagination that is needed for a world where all may thrive, where all may flourish. I am grateful for the privilege of sharing stories from UUSC's work with our partners around the world, and I hope that these stories illuminate how it is possible to imagine something more and to make it real. In July, I visited with UUSC partners working in Poland and Ukraine, responding to the crisis from the invasion of Russia into Ukraine, particularly working with people who were forcibly displaced. In Krakow, we met Nastya. Her organization provides holistic, informational, legal, psychological, and emergency shelter support to Ukrainian evacuees who are facing sexual violence, human trafficking, the need for reproductive health care, including abortion, and emergency contraception. Nastya shared several stories of the emergency support they have provided to girls and women who are facing terrifying violence. But more than this, more than her stories of the support, I was moved by the origin story of her organization, known as Martinka. You see, when the war broke out, Nastya was living in Krakow. She was a student in Krakow, Poland. She was safe in Krakow. So she was able to provide support to all the members of her family so that they could come to safety. When her family was safely settled, including her niece, Martinka, Nastya wasn't finished. She said she wanted everyone in Ukraine who needed help to know that they had family abroad who could help. This is a foundational principle to her work. We are all connected. We are all family. We only thrive when we all thrive. Another important opportunity for UUSC to support our partners responding to the war in Ukraine came just 6 months after Russia invaded. Our new partners, 6 months into their frantic work to save lives, said that they were holding on just barely by a thread. And so they asked us if we could provide support for them for a time of rest and connection. In the midst of the violence and trauma, we were so glad to help fund and facilitate a week where feminist organizers, where they spent time together creating connections, imagining new actions, but most of all, resting. We have heard from some of the partners that this time of rest and connection at that really difficult, critical moment was what made it possible for them to keep going. It gave them a moment in that okay and not okay time, truth, to hold together both the devastation and the joy. I think this glimpse from UUSC's work in our world is important as we here today hold in our community care, in love, both the unthinkable losses that are happening every day and the remarkable healing and hope, the beauty that is born in courageous connection and commitment to justice. It's not unlike what we strive to do together each week when we gather for worship. Within the container of faith community, we gather to rest from the relentless, pounding, sometimes real, sometimes manufactured demands of our days. We stop just for this hour. We are saying that taking time for connection and meaning-making and promise-making, that this matters. We are here together, okay and not okay, holding one another in our losses, remembering together the joy and beauty around us. And in this way, we hold ourselves accountable and call ourselves back, again, to our shared work for justice, to the great work of love. The great work of love. I really can't think of a better way to describe what we are trying to do at UUSC in partnerships with grassroots groups around the world. This has been a hallmark of UUSC's long and faithful history of justice making. I give thanks for all of those through the decades who have worked for connection and healing in our human family, and who dare again and again to imagine a better world. And I also want to say thank you to all of you. We are especially grateful for your recent remarkable gift to UUSC for our work in Haiti. It was the largest gift we received from a congregation for this work. Thank you. And it was so special that we received this as a gift in honor of your new minister, Margalie. Because of your gift, we continue to provide support to partners in Haiti who are supporting girls at risk of violence, migrants who are facing horrible abuses, and in addition, we are supporting the efforts of Haitian civil society to imagine and build a true democracy, free from devastating global interventions. The situation is very difficult, and our partners are making a difference. Thank you, First You, for your support in this. And I also want to thank all of you who are UUSC members. Some of you have supported our work for years and years. Thank you so much. Some of you may have supported in the past. I always meet people when I visit congregations who say, I used to be a member. We're happy to fix that, bring you back in the fold. And for those of you for whom UUSC is new, we dearly hope to make a connection with you. We appreciate your financial support, and even if making a financial gift isn't right now, we hope you will sign up to receive our email updates. At UUSC, we engage in the work of human rights through what we call eye-to-eye partnership. Our grounding in UU principles and values reminds us that connection, right, kinship, is a fundamental drive for the vision of justice and human rights we hold. We are part of one human family sharing one living planet. We belong to one another, each and all. And it is not enough that we survive. The work of human rights is the work of ensuring that all have the opportunity to thrive. The biggest challenge we face to justice and equity is that the systems, so many of the systems by which we organize our shared life, politically, economically, socially, those systems, so many of them, have been designed to keep us disconnected, to ensure that we forget our kinship, forget that we all have worth, and all means all, that we all belong, and that we only thrive when we thrive together. I have been influenced by the work of political theorist Brian Stout, who speaks about these systems and how they work. He writes, all domination systems, there are a lot of them out there, right? All domination systems, whether we call them white supremacy or patriarchy or colonialism or extractive capitalism, all domination systems depend on three things to maintain their power. Got your notes ready? Disconnecting us from ourselves and our bodies, disconnecting us from each other and from community, and disconnecting us, where's Charlie, from the land and other beings. And once we are disconnected and disengage, what happens? We resign ourselves to powerlessness. Because you know what? When we're disconnected, we are powerless. We do not have power. When we isolate ourselves and disengage, we are powerless. When we forget our connections, abandon the possibility of another world, and fall into cynicism and despair, we are playing into the hands of tyrants. Our perception of our powerlessness is exactly what empire is counting on. UUSC partners all over the world, they're amazing. And they consistently and stubbornly claim their power and reject the notion that there is little we can do. A little example. So one of my favorite examples of this comes from our partners in the Pacific, like Joe Jacum, the organization Kathy founded. Indigenous people whose homes and livelihoods and identities are at tremendous risk, some of them in immediate danger of losing their homes. But make no mistake, as they repeatedly affirm, they are not drowning, they are fighting. 4 years ago, 27 young adult law school students began a project that has demonstrated for many around the world the potential of people with a vision of justice who know their power. Maybe you've heard their story. In their environmental law classroom at the University of the South Pacific, they were given an assignment to imagine the most creative possible strategy for addressing the climate crisis through legal means. They researched previous actions and campaigns, international actions and campaigns, and they decided that what they wanted to pursue as a legal strategy for addressing the climate crisis was to convince the United Nations. There were 27 young adult law students in the Pacific, but they were going to convince the United Nations to call on the International Court of Justice to issue an advisory opinion setting up a framework of accountability related to the climate crisis. So creating what does not exist, a framework where accountable parties are held accountable for the harm they are creating, have created, are creating, and will create. So the students took their proposal to the Pacific Island Forum and got a nod and a congratulations. I bet they got an A. But this was not an idle exercise for them. They wanted nothing less than a vote of the United Nations General Assembly to create the first ever framework for accountability for the climate crisis. So they formed an organization, Pacific Island Students Fighting Climate Change, and launched their International Court of Justice Advisory Opinion Campaign. UUSC was one of the first funders of the Pacific Island students. Solomon and Vishal, campaign directors, came to our board meeting in Boston in 2022 and told us that it was funding from UUSC that made it possible for them to attend the conference, the climate conference in Scotland, and make connections with this was 4 years ago, and make connections with larger organizations with access to greater funding. UUSC also provided support for them, things like making sure they had the credentials they needed to be present at the United Nations in New York and in Geneva, also providing housing for them in New York during the bulk of the campaign. It's one of the things I love about UUSC is because we're a small organization, we're very agile, we can move quickly, and it makes a lot of small but really important things possible. So, with the sponsorship of the nation of Vanuatu, the 27 students took their campaign to the world, ultimately receiving the support of over 120 nations, almost 2/3 of the UN member nations. Can you imagine? On March 29th, 2023, almost a year ago, the United Nations General Assembly adopted by unanimous consent the Pacific Island Students' proposal. I still, as you can see, involuntarily shake my head when I remember what they accomplished. There is still a lot of work to do. The court has 18 months to issue their opinion. We will be organizing to advocate member nations that they take their responsibilities and accountabilities seriously, including the funding for loss and damage. You will be hearing more from us. I hope you will help us in this advocacy. Around the world, with your support, UUSC works with partners to challenge the systems that disconnect us that allow us to turn away, to shrug helplessly and sigh, "Get real." In rejecting the notion that there is no other way and little we can do, feminist activists in Poland, the Pacific students, grassroots groups in Burma, feminist partners in Nicaragua, land and water defenders in Honduras, democracy activists in Haiti, and many others are building healing, connection, and regenerative economies so that all may flourish, so that all may thrive. It is true that many of the systems that order our lives are powered by racism, patriarchy, and extractive capitalism, tools of alienation and disconnection. But we can resist these systems. Our resistance can take many forms, the form of organizing right here in Orlando, whether it's for climate and solar, or for farm workers, or for people who do not have homes. Our resistance can take the form of supporting human rights work by joining UUSC. It can take the form of working for peace. Even one of my favorite things to do, giving blood. Sign up, Wednesday. What if all of us answered, "Be bold"? What if this was our mission? If all of us answered, "Be bold"? Be bold. We nurture a spiritual community. Be bold. Grounded in love. Be bold. That celebrates diversity. Be bold. And promotes justice. Be bold. Amen.
That was amazing. I'm Debbie Reinhardt on the Board of Trustees. We invite you now into the practice of generosity. It is one of our spiritual values which sustains the life and ministries of the church community. Let us be grateful for the opportunity to give, for it is a privilege to be able to do so. And let us be grateful for our needs, for they give us the opportunity to practice receiving. Today's full collection will go to the ministries of this congregation. You may also support our Share the Plate partner for February, One Heart for Women and Children, who help individuals who are homeless or in times of transition meet their most essential needs. The offering will now be collected. Note that you can also give online using the link.
Ringing out far and near, let justice roll down, let justice roll down, like rush of a stream comes a powerful dream, let justice roll down, let justice roll down. Let the earth be restored, every soul be reformed. Let the healing renew, creation reborn. Here in this sacred space, with the strength of love's grace, let justice roll down, let justice roll down, roll down, justice, roll like an ever-flowing stream. Roll down, justice roll like an ever-flowing stream, flowing stream, roll down, roll down, justice.
Let us joyfully receive what is offered here today in the spirit of gratitude and fellowship. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 348, Guide My Feet.
Every day we wake to some new glimpse of our world rife with devastation. May we hold each other tenderly in this truth and commit again to our mutual healing connections for love and justice, because this is a breathtakingly beautiful world that we share. There is joy here, and we can be love. And for our call to action, when you start to feel powerless, when you consider despair or cynicism, stop. Take a deep breath, reach out. Remember, you are not alone. We are not alone. And this week, I hope you will take just 10 minutes to read some UUSC blogs under the news section on our website, learn more about the amazing work of UUSC partners, and if you haven't already, sign up for our email list. Make a gift, and remember, the great work of love needs each of us and all of us.
Please say these words with me as we extinguish the flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.